Hare Krishna, dear devotees. It's Chandravad Chaitanya Das, and welcome back to the Bhakti House. It is Saturday. Today is our rest and retreat day, but it's also a very special day. This is the disappearance day of Madhavendra Puri. Sri Madhavendra Puri was a 15th century Vaishnava saint. I would call him a saint, but in truth, he was really probably the first pillar, I would say, of really getting Gaudiya Vaishnavism back on track. And I can tell you this about him, for he was a soul that was probably back in his day. You have to kind of think of some kind of the context of like where he's coming from, but he was a he was deeply spiritual, and he had a deep love for God, like we call it prema, but it was a deep prema for God, for Krishna. And let's see, what else can I tell you about Madhavendra Puri? So there is a famous story revolving around him as well. Now, but before I get into the story, to kind of give you a little background on that, let me just share that Madhavendra Puri was actually, he would be considered like the grand, uh, well, his grand disciple is Lord Chaitanya himself. So he's actually the Lord incarnate. Lord Chaitanya, i.e., Krishna, was actually his grand disciple. So you had Ishvar Puri afterwards. So you had um, Madhavendra Puri, Ishvar Puri, and then you had Sri Chaitanya Prabhu. And from Sri Chaitanya Prabhu, of course, we have then really the whole Bhakti movement had really started spreading, with that. And his exemplary example of being like just the greatest devotee ever. But Madhavendra Puri, he was, to get onto the story now. So think about, this is 15th century India, and he's a very special individual and very compassionate, very loving kind of individual. And he did have some disciples that followed him and that he cared for, and that took shelter from him, just like we have today, still in our village, all these years later. But Madhavendra Puri, he was probably one of the most notable stories about him is he actually was really the catalyst for the rediscovery of Braj, modern day Vrindavan, and like Govardhan Hill and Radhakund and all these places in that area. He kind of reignited it and refounded it. And how that came about was actually through this wonderful story. So he was basically he was under a tree on this hill and taking a nap one afternoon, and he had this dream. And well, before I get to that, I'm kind of jumping the gun a little bit. So he's under the tree, and probably saying prayers and just having this really emotional experience. He was a very emotional person, spiritually emotional. So it's like just the thought of God, and like his whole life was so devout, and like so it was his everything. That was his whole purpose being, was to love God. So he is, we can really, this deepens this deep kind of ecstatic love for God. This is something that we can, in today's modern age, really just only kind of hope for. But a young boy came up to him and just kind of came out of nowhere and offered him milk, seeing that he was thirsty. And so he took some milk. Um, and then as he did, the young boy just disappeared. He just was vanished. And Madhavendra Puri, was just so taken back by it. It was such a kind offering that someone would offer him this milk in his time of need and thirst and everything. And so he couldn't get it out of his mind. So as you might imagine, you'd probably dream some fragments of dreams and stuff, things coming in. Well, that did happen, but it was more like a divine dream for him. And he actually dreamed of the young boy, and the young boy actually explained that, he was Krishna, that in the form of like young Krishna, Gopal Krishna, and that he was a form of Gopal, and that he was a deity and kind of lost in that so in the dream, Krishna, Gopal, actually tells him where his Gopal deity is, where it's the physical deity of this of Gopal is and how to find it, and gives him some instructions in terms of like, I want you to get this, and I want you to reestablish this deity and stuff. And so he woke up and immediately goes to work, and he gets everything going for himself. He actually he gets some villagers, so they go out, they find this actual deity and stone deity, and then they take it and reestablish it and create a temple and build it and just kind of move everything forward, right? And and this, and of course, where he told him the deity was located at and create all this is exactly when the villagers actually found it. So, and this goes word of mouth, it gets some from generation to generation. So, of course, only I'm from so many reviews, but I'm telling you, I think you will. A little bit around here, so they found this, and he's working. Oh, I think he was first year, and he was devout, um, feeling care of the piety, and then he was another about 2 years. To like where the most perfect sandalwood is, and I want you to grab the sandalwood and then bring it back. I want you to use it to cool my body, to put the sandalwood on his body. And in India, that's what a lot of times is we'll actually like cool ourselves with like sandalwood paste and different things. It has a very cooling effect. In fact, in many temples and even in many homes, you'll see people burning sandalwood incense, this agarbatti, and when they're burning that smell is very soothing and it's very cooling. So in a place that's as hot as India is, especially like in the summertime, and you really appreciate having kind of that cooling sense, and it just really cools you down and gives you a sense of peace and comfort and so on. So that's kind of the story of Madhavendra Puri. Well, he never really actually makes it back. He actually dies in trying to think of the name of the town. It was um, I don't know, maybe I could find that. I don't know. He dies in Ramadi, I think, or something. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I'd have to kind of do a little bit more research on that. Ramadi, I believe, or something like that. Um, but anyway, I digress. That's Madhavendra Puri, and so today, of course, is the day that we actually break fast on Ekadashi. So I hope that you guys all had a really wonderful Ekadashi. I know for me, it was very spiritually blissful. I took a zero food yesterday for the fast, and so we'll be breaking fast here before 10 o'clock. We actually have the actual timings for the fasting ending on our website. Let me just see if I can for you real quick. Um, yeah, so we have, so today is the last day of February, and whoops, there we go. So yeah, we actually end up between 7:09 a.m. and right now, guys, just to give you an example, it is 8:21 a.m. but it's 7:09 a.m. to 10 a.m. And so this is going to be a really short live stream today, by the way, guys, because I'm actually doing some service work that I've got to get to, food pantry stuff, helping with the hungry and stuff like that. And then just close to 10 o'clock is when I'll actually break fast in that and just have a little bit of fruit. And then today, just very light. And then tomorrow we'll have the Sunday feast. So probably cut the yoga and everything. For today's rest and retreat, though, I have the blog post up on our website, so definitely check that out. You can just go to thehouse.org. That's TheBhakti house, HOUSE.org. And that's up and ready to go for you guys. Yesterday, we put together a really nice training and stuff like that on the Prabhupada Pranati. So maybe you had some opportunity to actually practice that along with the Panchatattva Mahamantra. We have that as well on there. So you can learn to play those in the major key, B flat major. That's what we've been kind of studying here thus far. And then once you actually get down and get it, you'll be able to say these prayers before every kirtan that you do from now on. So do you see kind of like the progression there? You learn a few tunes. Yeah, this is great. Now we can take our lessons a little bit more seriously and just kind of add these little nuances in, and it just makes it that much more fun, I believe. Guys, that's about all I've got for you. So today's message, of course, is from effort to ease. So we're actually taking, yesterday was maybe a little bit of effort because you're having to learn these, but now you'll start to gradually get into it more. So my encouragement today is just take it easy, all the effort from the week, let all that stuff kind of go, and then just enjoy your japa, do some nice japa, chant at least a minimum of one round if you can. 54, if that's all the time that you have for, that's something you can do on your way to anywhere you go. So it's kind of a nice way of being. And then, just up for you guys. So we ended up getting the locks. So we actually have the numerical locks, don't have them put on yet or anything like that for the Bhakti house. So it makes entering and exiting the Bhakti house for all the devotees and stuff like that, serious devotees, and that not open to the public, but just to the people that are like in our close association kind of thing, or circle. You have access to the combination, and then that will be able to get you in and out of the Bhakti house, as you need to come and pray and do reading and prasadam cooking, whatever you need to do. Of course, there's rooms downstairs for sleeping and that everything as well. Guys, we're only about, I think it's 1.5 miles or something like that from the actual train station, and then maybe like 1.8 miles to the bus station. And the bus station is it's the Jackson Area Transit Authority, JATA, I think is what they call it, for all the local buses around here. So you could actually get on a local bus here, take it to the JATA station, which is also the same as the Greyhound station. And then from there, you can actually, for a little bit of money, take a bus to either like Ann Arbor, Detroit, or you could take it to, say, Chicago even. Prices are so much less than Amtrak if you're trying to save a little bit of money. Amtrak is also another option, though, if you want to go to Chicago, if you want to go to New York, Detroit, whatever it is, wherever it is that you want to go, or if you're in a location, you just want to come to the Bhakti house and enjoy Jackson for a little bit of time, especially when the weather starts warming up a little bit nicer. I think it'll be really cool. That might be an opportunity as well. And then you could just walk, or if you want to get a little exercise, or you could actually grab a bus and then they'll drop you here not too far away. And there's a block or so you're here. So just a little FYI, just wanted to share that with you guys. So we have the combinations and stuff. If anyone needs access to the Bhakti house or whatever, if you want to get with me privately, you can just do that through the website. Just go to thebhaktihouse.org and then click on the contact form, and just you can write me that way. Or you can just email me directly. It's just Chandra, CHANDRA, at thebhaktihouse.org. And then I'll get your email that way as well. But anyway, guys, from effort to ease. So Sunday rest and retreat is where Friday kirtans settle the nervous system. And then, so we're settling that nervous system. And then Saturday is just about rest and relaxation. We've got some different scriptures on here for you guys. So I would go over this, but actually I've got to run to go do some service. So I'm going to cut out. But guys, it was really great associating with you so far today. And maybe I'll be able to come on a little bit more later, or if I get really tied up, maybe perhaps tomorrow at some point we can do this again. But anyways, don't forget to do your japa. I know I'm on my way to do some japa as I get on my way to doing some service, seva. So much love and many blessings all, and enjoy your Saturday.